What's the one thing you wish, like obviously being in the space and doing what you do at that level, what's the one thing you wish everyone knew about fashion?
The design process behind it, especially with my brand, it's like a journey. Like I literally just when my last collection was this, I started to look at my life at, like a domino effect, like this experience or this meeting this person. And I just started to think, wow, this is like how I am here today. This is the butterfly effect. Like all these small habits and choices that I had made had now created who I am today. And that kind of was like, oh, that's the butterfly effect. So then I started getting really into butterflies, the way, they looked, the colors on their, wings, like everything. I went down a rabbit hole, and that's the part I love, the design process. And I think so much goes into it. It's not just fast fashion. You're creating something that's coming out of your inner world, and there's so much to it. A lot of brands today even just, buy other brands' clothing and take it to the factory and say, copy this. And it's going on, and it's happening a lot. Copy this in this amount of colors. And it's like, throw a few roses on it and, call it your own.
Make it 20% different.
Yeah.
So it's not
and
copyright.
It's like, there's actually real artistry that's involved in brands, and, there's so much you don't see. And that's why I share a lot of it on Instagram, like me behind the scenes, creating it all, because it's important.
Yeah, well, it's good for people to see that process and see what's behind it, and they get more of an understanding and connection with the brand when that happens too.
Yeah.
Now, we both do that. We share a lot of behind the scenes stuff, just educational things in our businesses, and people relate to that, especially your target audience. They'll relate to that and appreciate it, and then feel more connected to what you're doing and what you're selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find anyone did that for you? Like tried to steal a piece?
Oh, it's happened.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had a call from a friend one day, and she was like, oh, she has a really big brand called Rat and Boa. And my friend Valentina rang me one day, and she's like, hey, I just want to let you know this girl's bought stuff from me and you, and she's taken it to the factory and created her own brand, mixing both of your brands. I was like, what? And like back then I was like, I was
Get it.
Let's
burn a factory down.
Yeah, I'm like,
We'll
she's
slap
fucked.
your
Like,
tires.
Actually. And I remember like I remember her being like, when are my clothes coming? Blah, 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 blah. And then what I realized was she was waiting for my clothes to arrive so she could use them on set for her own shoot. So anyway, now when you look at the brand, it's literally like Rocky Raffaella times Rat and Boa. And I used to get so angry because it's like I literally like work my ass off, but now it's like flattery. Flattery.
Yeah, well, it's, you know what I'm about to say?
Copying is a flattery.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
That's it.
So like they'll never be you. They can only ever copy your idea once you've made it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't end up like I look at stuff like that when people try to imitate. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like there's only one me.
Yeah.
There's only one you. There's only one you. Like it's
No one
they can't do it better than us.
Yeah. Plus
So-
she would use like polyester materials, and people would like feel like they were on a sauna. Anyway, she just didn't really understand or know fashion, and tried to rip off other people.
What do you say? Polyester materials make you feel like you're in a sauna? What does that mean?
Yeah, well, you can't breathe in it. It's a very cheap material. So if you're making a shirt out of it, you're going to sit there sweating.
Polyester?
I think that's cotton from my eyes.
Okay.
It's a cotton T-shirt. But yeah,
Just learning.
Oh, it's me too. I can't look at a leopard the other way.
Well, I've got
any other way now.
I've got a question for you guys.
Oh, goodness me.
Okay, so we obviously have this beautiful sign here that's shining in my eyes. I want to know where $1 Million Days came from and the story behind it.
Very cool.
Go for it.
Are you there? So we were at, I'm pumped. Great question. I think we've discussed this, but we just sort of breezed over
It's
it.
a
Not in great
refresher.
Yeah.
A refresher for everyone who may have.
We were at a training
joined.
actually 2.5 years ago.
Was it that long?
Fuck, it's long. It'd have to be. It'd have to be at
Yeah.
least. It was about 2.5 years ago. So before we started running events and doing all that sort of stuff, we're at a training to learn how to run events and do trainings on stage and all that sort of stuff. And part of the training was like, he was showing us how to sell from stage. And we're like, man, if you nail that, you'll make $1 million in a day, like without a doubt.
Okay.
You'll make and we're like, it was honestly out of, and not to shit at anyone in the room because everyone's got their own journey.
Sorry, in terms of like their mindset or how they're running.
No,
it was the concept of selling from one to many.
Yeah.
So it's concept of get a bunch of people
In
who are
a
your ideal
room.
client in a room. It started off with you. I can't remember whether you turned back or I turned back, but we looked at each other and we're like, we should do an event. And he's like, fucking know if we should do a fucking event. And then we did. And then the whole concept of we're going to make $1 million in a day.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, $1 million days.
That's terrific. I love that. That's so good.
And then that's how like it all kind of come to fruition from, I think it was day 4 at the event.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were literally there and it was like a 5 or 6 day straight training broken into 3 sections. And this was the level 2 of the training. And we were there and like the things he was telling us, we'd seen it from stage from other people as well. So we knew that what he was teaching us actually works.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter about having a product to sell from stage. And then we went out on our first event and we killed it. Like we did really well and made, we've openly said it, like in a day I did 350 grand in sales in a day, in one day.
Wow.
Now that's not money in the bank account right there and then, but it was committed over 12 months, whatever it might be. But you still take it. I'll take it as a win. But the whole concept behind it was like we saw how it could happen and how it could work. And we're like, you nail this and it's only a matter of time before you have those $1 million days. And then that's sort of how the podcast came to fruition. And, you know, it was probably 6 months post that we actually started episode 1. He literally messaged me and goes, hey, we should start a podcast. I'm like, fucking oath.
$1 million days.
And then, it just started.
Love it.
And it just came from that.
Yeah. And it probably started off, our journey to making $1 million in a day because it's such a far-fetched concept to so many people.
Yeah.
Like most people in the world that you speak to are just like, I would love to have $1 million.
Yeah.
And we're talking about doing it in a single day, not over the course of a year, 10 years, 30 years. No. We're going to do it in a day. And even then, when it happens, and it'll happen, it's like you're like, well, what's next?
You can
how
do
do you
anything.
make 10 in a day?
Yeah.
I think it's
Because there's people out there, like this is where the limiting beliefs come in from so many people and why I think a lot of business owners go against the grain when it comes to that because you could have very easily not got that internship with Alex, was it?
Alexander McQueen.
McQueen.
I wish. Alexander Wang.
Wang. So Mr. Wang, you missed out, buddy. But you could have very easily gone somewhere else and gone for another internship or gone and worked for another brand.
Yeah.
And just been that.
Or just went and worked retail, for example, like most people do.
Like most people would.
Yeah, most people would. When they want to do fashion, they're like, yeah, I'll go work at YD.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing with like belief systems. And I'm very, very like aware of this. Like I had no business experience when I started the brand. I was literally straight out of uni, but I did have a belief that I had a talent to show the world.
Yeah.
So I really believed that, I had this, and that's kind of what drove the brand as well, because if I didn't, I'd probably, be working for Scanlan or something.
Yeah. And that's fine if you decided to go down that path and you enjoyed it, but it's the ability to go against the grain is what's really going to get you some success and fulfillment in life, I believe, anyway.
Yeah.
And that's where I see a lot of people that are in our circle and just anyone giving it a nudge and just doing something above the norm. And you can still do above the norm in a job.
Yeah.
But I find that those people that have real ultimate success have just pushed the limits in whatever you can do.
Yeah. I actually remember having like really limited money in the bank, and
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to dress, the Hadids, which was huge in my eyes. And for people who don't know who that is, they're like a really well-known family in LA.
Yeah.
And, daughters, Muhammad Hadid is the father, and then the daughters are Bella and Gigi Hadid, and
They're very famous.
very famous. Yeah,
Is she a model?
The two, yeah.
Yeah.
There's two sisters, and then
They're massive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
massive. Yeah,
Yeah.
like hugely famous.
yeah, and then
So-
they've got another sister that's not so well known, but
Yeah.
now she's more
Dud.
so. Anyway,
Of the family.
we became friends, me and that the half sister,
Oh, yeah.
and then they had a half brother that went out with Dua Lipa, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how I got my clothes on that kind of circle.
Yeah.
But I just remember not having a lot of money, and just being like, you know what, this is actually a really huge opportunity. I didn't even know if I was going to meet him, but I knew that I had to get the jacket to him some way. So I got on the plane. Everyone told me not to. I kind of just jumped at the opportunity. And what ended up happening was I ended up meeting him. He did a live, unbelievable, situation. And then that, just from being there, went to dressing Paris Hilton and then went to all these other huge things just from that. But if you were in a situation and too logical, you would have been like, oh, that's not a smart idea. The funds, X, Y, Z, not to go. But I always had that going against the grain of what people said and just like jumping at what I intuitively felt was right.
Yeah, roll the dice.
Yeah. Alex Hormozy said this the other day. It's like, never take advice from poor people. And that's not poor as in monetarily poor, like you might be well off, but it's effectively saying don't take advice from people who haven't achieved the things that you want to achieve or just within their own circle, their own bubble. Because they're saying don't go overseas. No, don't do that. Do you know how much an airplane ticket is these days? It's like $1,200 return. Like
then accommodation.
Then accommodation. Then you got to, don't drink the water there. You'll get sick. And like, there's so many barriers that they just put up. And it's like, cool. Like if you had listened to that, you'd probably never would have had those opportunities that opened up to you.
Yeah. And that's also their thought system based on what they know.
Off their experiences. Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. Their experience isn't going to be your experience. They're getting their knowledge from the limiting beliefs that they've encompassed over the years and are giving it to you based off that.
Yeah.
It's like, hang on, when was the last time you met one of the richest families in the world?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, well, I never did. Yeah, because I guarantee you that if you just posted it to him and did an express post, so he gets it soon, probably look at it, go, it's a cool jacket, wear it once, maybe never wear it. Just go, I'm over this now.
Yeah.
It took 2 days. But now when you come here and you go, here you go, here's the jacket I personally made for you.
Yeah.
And like, wow, this is amazing. This is cool. Let's talk about it. And see that you're a half decent person, because people always love to buy from people as well. They want to see the face behind the creation at the end of the day. And the fact that you've gone over there and had that connection is massive.
Yeah. Well, just quickly, what else ended up happening from that? I believe it's about what you do at that time as well. Like I remember I had a wish list, while you're there, try and get into 5 stores, like dream big, wrote them all down, emailed them 30 times, nothing happened. I'm like, I'm going to go in there every morning. One of my top one was Fred Siegel. It's on Sunset Boulevard. 30 emails, nothing back. Anyway, went in there every morning with the jacket on. One of the mornings, this lady came up to me and she goes, oh, can I ask you, where's your jacket from? She goes, oh, I'm actually the buying manager or blah, blah, blah. And I'm never on the floor because they're not these days.
Yep.
But I just happen to be here. I would love to book you in to meet with the buyers. Within a couple of months, I was stocked in Fred Siegel and it was like money I didn't even knew I could make.
Opportunity was, you took the opportunity and you were persistent too. Because I've heard this thing, you're only 10 no's away from a yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But imagine if you knew on the 10th no you were going to get the yes next, you would go out and try and get those no's as soon as you possibly could.
Yeah.
But people get so discouraged at that first no that they never take the step to the next one and to the next one and to the next one. But you've just got to be so persistent.
Oh my God, failures is like, I love, every time I get a no or a failure, it's like, what can I learn from this? Failures are, I believe, what made me get success and not being afraid of it either.
If you like that clip and you want to watch another one, click just over here. And if you want to watch the full episode, click just over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.